All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Friday Bible Study. And Jamie, I think I'll do a separate Bible study to try to cover those questions from yesterday. Well, I mean, from my Monday Bible study. And I think I'll have time Saturday or Sunday to really get into that. And I've been thinking about it, and um, any research that you can give me as far as Old Testament chapters and verses where you quoted. If not, I think I can just copy and paste and put it into Google. It'll take me to it. So, uh, but just I want to try to take a look at it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. There's a lot. It's so layered. There's certainly a lot to reconcile because there's Jesus comes and removes the church, and there's these passages, what people call, the rapture. And I think me and you would tell people it is post tribulation, um, because once the church is removed, it's God's wrath. So there's no more, there's no more tribulation on the church if the church is removed. Now, if there's layers of the church, which I think is what you're saying, that's definitely, something to really, talked about the harvest. There were different layers of the harvest, and that there's, so then you're saying there's different layers of the church, perhaps. So, I'm gonna need all you got. You very well could be right about that, and if you are, I really want to learn it, obviously, um, because when I can learn it, I can teach it. So, and I've learned new stuff um, since I began reading the Bible in 2001, but I really started learning new stuff every year. 2012, I learned a lot when the Lord pulled me out of the world. But in 2013, I'd learned so much more. And in 2014, I'd learned so much more. 2015, more. Move up to cut to 2017. Lord showed me everyone knows such thing as free will. So, boom. That was a big deal. And Hell is Not Eternal Torment, I think it was 2016, from my old Bible study instructor who no longer believes the Bible is real now. So I love learning new stuff. I just want to be right. I definitely don't ever want to get up here and teach something that's not. I don't think I'm teaching false doctrine, but revelation isn't really what you'd call church doctrine. Free will is, or no free will is. Um, but I definitely want to teach revelation properly. So anything you can give me on that, let me know. Let's go on. And by the way, if y'all are listening and you're not sure, go back to Monday's Bible study and view the comments and read everything that Jamie wrote. All right. And so you'll have an idea of what I'm talking about. All right. So we're in Revelation 10 now. Let me check the spreadsheet. I did not update the spreadsheet yesterday, and I need to. All right. So now we're in chapter 10. So I'm just updating that spreadsheet that we're going to eventually do a big, long Bible study on, covering Revelation from A to Z, which, of course, is what we're talking about with Jamie also. So what we're going to try to reconcile tonight is this Jesus? And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted his hand to heaven and swear by him that liveth forever and ever. Now, to me, it sounds like it's Jesus from what we studied yesterday, because it was compared to a lion. It had a rainbow, and there's a rainbow. If I'm not mistaken, there's a rainbow on the throne of God. Rainbow at the throne of God, Revelation. Yes. So this angel has a rainbow. So if you have a rainbow, since God's throne has a rainbow, And this angel has a rainbow. And again, the feet and matched other descriptions of Jesus's feet, like pillars of fire, if I'm not mistaken. And I guess what I need to do is just get into uh, Revelation 10, period, all the way through. His feet were pillars of fire. Jesus' feet like pillars of fire. We get Revelation 10. I could have swore there was another place. What does Revelation 2:18 mean? What does Revelation 1:4? Okay. Eyes were like a flame. Okay, feet were bronze on that one. Son of God, whose eyes like a flame of fire and feet like, okay. So they are different. Ooh, hang on. Son of God, whose eyes like, okay. Hang on, let me compare all these verses. One commentary I liked was that he's a divine agent acting on behalf of God and Jesus. Yeah, I don't think there's any clear cut way. Angel means messenger. Um, it could have been Jesus, could easily not have been Jesus. So I'm just going to stay very vanilla and gray on that. Um, I agree that the mighty angel in Revelation 10 is Jesus, the angel of the Lord. I talked about this mighty angel, part 2 of the chronology of Revelation commentary. I also talk more about it. Include some, however, do not see the vision of Jesus in Revelation 10 as being the same as his appearance in the sky when the sixth seal is opened. Revelation 10:7 says the appearance is just before the seventh angel sounds his trumpet. And at the sounding of the seventh trumpet is when Jesus will return to the earth. Yes, his kingdom will come to the world. He will begin to reign. I like that. I like that. Why would Jesus be there on the earth when he's about to come to the earth? So, would probably lean that it's not Jesus. The end of the mystery. Chapter 2 Revelation will come face to face with several mysteries that have confused many from time to time. I suppose there are millions of people on the earth this morning that struggle with the mystery of the silent heaven. Why does God explain what is going on? It must seem to many that he is unconcerned and perhaps even no. Look at chapters 8 and 9, horrendous disasters yet to come. Chapters 2, Spirit of God always anticipates. There are certain clues that give this symbolic book the identity of the angel as the angel of the Lord, or the angel of Yahweh, the great angel who accompanied Israel through their wilderness wanderings. The angel always appears. Well, that could have been Jesus that led. There's many things in the Old Testament that we realized when we were in our old Bible studies that they were all about Jesus. The burning bush, so on and so forth. This angel always appears when Israel comes to the forefront of God's program as an indication. Great angel comes robot in a cloud. In a cloud characteristic. Nation of Israel. Remember Israel marching through the desert. We last saw the rainbow in chapter 4 of this book around the throne of God. See, that's my point. In the angel's face, we are told like the sun, and his legs actually, his feet were like fiery pillars. That takes us back to chapter 1, where John saw the vision of Jesus among the church, and John describes his face shining like the sun, and his feet like bronze. See, it was like bronze, not pillars of fire, but his face did shine like the sun. So it was one. It was one comparison. Face was like the sun, and he did come in the clouds, which Jesus comes in the clouds when he comes to the earth. So I don't want to throw you off saying one way or the other, because if you think one way or the other, you might be right and I might be wrong, and I might be right and you might be wrong. But if I don't say it the way you see it, it would weaken our study. You would say, "Yeah, he's not that good. Maybe I shouldn't listen to what he's." You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely, you're really slicing. There's some thin slices there. It's tough, 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 tough. So let's just continue. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven, and the things that therein are, and the earth, and the things that therein are, and the sea, and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, and when he blows his trumpet, that's the removal of the church. At the last trump, we are all changed. That's why it's insane when people tell you there's a pre-tribulation rapture. Well, it clearly states that it's at the last trump. And that's way after the Great Tribulation. This is at the time that God's been pouring out his wrath on the earth. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, because remember, when he begins to sound, that's it. The mystery of God should be finished. That's a big statement. There's time. The time is no longer. I mean, this is big stuff going on here, folks. If you made it alive through the Great Tribulation, and witnessed everything that was going on, but you didn't die, because Jesus returns or no flesh would be. All this stuff, where time no longer and the mystery of God should be finished, that all takes place before. I'll tell you why it might be Jesus, because Jesus said he must return or no flesh would be saved. And they just stopped, everything stopped. Now, does he then go back up into the clouds? And well, I don't know, can he? He's God. So it's tough. It's tough stuff. He had declared to his servants, the prophets, as he had declared to his servants, the prophets. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me and said, go take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. If that is Jesus, that's quite a statement to say, isn't it? And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. It's always struck me about that particular statement by the angel or by Jesus is that you would think they would give you the good part first. Well, in your mouth, because that's where it starts. It starts in your mouth and it goes down to your belly. In your mouth, it's going to be sweet as honey, but in your belly, it's going to become bitter. No. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up. And in my mouth, sweet as honey. As soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. Well, that's in order. So we're just going to say angel in parentheses or Jesus. How would we word it to simplify it? Stops time and begins or did when the seventh angel, yeah. I'm just going to say stops time, because this is all still part of God's wrath. Even though they weren't describing actual wrath situations. It kind of stands alone. Chapter 10 does. And I've already got so many other different descriptions of what Revelation is. So I want to include it in with the wrath, if y'all don't mind. And if you do, just let me know. I can always go back and add, something. What else? What else are we going to do? Let's go to Ephesians. And I better have something prepared in the New Living to give you. Y'all know I'm always tired on Fridays. After working all day, an hour plus to Orlando to get as much organic food as I can from Whole Foods, and an hour plus back. The traffic there was 20-minute backups to and from, which that's Friday for you. But I don't want to have anything to do than what I got a short little appointment tomorrow and a 3-day weekend. So my energy will be here, but I'm not rushed. So like I was yesterday, so I can take my time and at least dive into stuff. I just sound very tired. Neither filthiness nor foolish talk. Make sure you watch yesterday's. It was short, but I did take you to Galatians 5:19 through 21. And today, I'll take you to another one I've been talking about. That way, you get some caveats if you watch all of these. So like I tell you, start at the beginning and watch the whole thing. We gave you the deadly sins, a list yesterday, Galatians 5:19 through 21. And then there, all unrighteousness is sin. There is sin not unto death. And I love the way New Living describes it better. Even though it's a more watered down version and a more of a corrupted text than King James. All wicked actions are sin, but not every sin leads to death, because you never stop sinning. You're in your flesh. But the Lord has burned off the outer man, that fleshy part that will damn you. And just like we showed you yesterday, those which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom, which means you won't be a sheep. You're not a sheep. So if that's confusing, just ask. I'll be glad to explain it to you. Less groggy. So let's just run through this in the New Living, though. Obscene stories, foolish talk, coarse jokes, these are not for you. Instead, let let there be thankfulness to God. You can be sure no immoral, impure, or greedy person will inherit the kingdom. Well, says it again, doesn't it? Seriously. Says it again. For we know that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater have any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. Don't let anybody twist or fool you. That means salvation. Well, that just means an inheritance in the kingdom. Or that's the kingdom, but there's people that are not in the kingdom, but they're still saved. Wolf in sheep's clothing or subsidiary of. Let's try to just read the rest in the King James. This one of Paul's epistles isn't too harsh here so far. Let no man deceive you with any vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience. And God's wrath, as you know, is only upon goats. Be not ye therefore partakers with them, for ye were sometimes darkness, but now ye are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light, and all sheep eventually will. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord. Proving. Faith without works is dead. Carefully determine what pleases the Lord. Take no part in the worthless deeds of evil darkness. Instead, this is that. I thought it was Ephesians 6:12. Okay. Oh, it's kind of like it, isn't it? That's the next chapter. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them, rather expose them. That's right. I remember that Bible verse now. Take no part. Reprove them means expose them, and that's what we do here. We don't take part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness, but instead we do expose them. And that's what reprove means. I got confused for a minute because I've said that. I used to put that on my Facebook all the time because that's what I was doing all over my Facebook, and it's what I do all over both YouTube channels now, especially the other one. And so when I got upon that, I knew it was so common. I thought I was in Ephesians 6:12 about your flesh and blood enemies and all that. I thought that's what we were getting on there, but I got confused. Brain fog. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. So you're exposing them, but there's a fine line on how much detail you want to give. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, there's a lot I could be telling you that the evil people do in this world. And I don't. Keep it very general. We're just basically what I do on my other channel. It's about the Antichrist receiving his deadly wound and who the Antichrist is, and exposing the things of the world on a big scale. We don't get down and dirty with the details. But all things that are reproved or exposed are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever doth make manifest is light. Well, hang on. It is shameful, but their evil intentions will be exposed when the light shines on them. Just don't give the gory details. For the light makes everything visible. This is why it is said, awake, O sleeper. Rise up from the dead, and Christ will give you light. So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. They were evil then, and they're evil today. And now that the Antichrist is on the scene, he hasn't come back from his deadly wounds, so he's not ruling the whole earth. People feel like, oh, it can't be Trump. He's no longer ruling anything. I'm like, the Antichrist never does rule anything or everything. Trump wasn't even ruling the United States of America. Half the country hated him. The Antichrist, the world will be handed over to a strong delusion that he will have the whole earth, except the sheep. For Jesus said, if it were possible, even the very elect would be fooled. That's the strong delusion. So that's coming from 2 Thessalonians 2 and Matthew 24:24. All right. Love you very much.